Let's talk about standards, because many people hear that word and immediately react. Some hear standards and think judgment, pressure, control, rigid people with clipboards. Others hear standards and think winning, excellence, discipline, and respect. Truth is, standards don't care one way or the other what you think. They are simply the level of behavior that you repeatedly accept. That applies to teams, companies, marriages, how you talk to yourself when nobody's around. Here's where people get lost. They think the only way to hold standards is through aggression. You shame yourself. You threaten yourself. You call yourself lazy. You push harder. You're never satisfied. That style can produce short bursts of excellence. It can also produce anxiety, resentment, dishonesty, burnout, and collapse. Fear is a poor long-term manager. People reject harshness and will move to the other extreme, where there's no pressure, no expectations, no accountability. Let's just do what feels right today. And any structure is toxic. It sounds freeing, but that is when standards start to erode. Promises weaken, confidence drops, potential gets quietly buried. Because confidence is not built by endless permission. Confidence is built when you trust yourself. And trust is built through kept commitments. So we need a third path. How about standards with compassion? Let's try and define it. I expect something of myself. I care about how I show up. My behavior matters. My words matter. My health matters. My work matters. And my relationships matter. Compassion means that I'm human, that I will miss sometimes, and that's okay. That I will get tired and I'll need to recover. I'll need adjustment. I can learn without self-hatred, and I can course correct without declaring myself broken. This combination is powerful because standards create direction. Compassion creates sustainability. Standards without compassion can become brutal, and compassion without standards can become indulgent. What if we used both? Let's try and make this practical. Let's talk about fitness. A harsh standard says that you missed one workout, so you are pathetic. No standard says life is busy. Skip whenever you want. How about a standard with compassion? It might say something like, you missed? Fine. Go for a walk today instead. Lift tomorrow. But keep the momentum going. You notice the difference? No need for drama, no collapse, no identity crisis. Just return. That is discipline as an adult. How about we try another example with work? A harsh standard might say, if I'm not crushing it constantly, I'm failing. And no standard says, I'll get serious tomorrow. A standard with compassion might say, today's energy is lower. What meaningful work can I still get done? It's realistic, and it allows for consistency daily. And how about in your relationships? A harsh standard might say, one mistake and you're dead to me. No standard says anything goes, whatever you want. A standard with compassion might say that this matters. We need honesty. We need to repair something. We need boundaries. It's maturity in action. Now, how do we tie this to mental health this month? Well, many people suffer not because they lack awareness. They suffer because they run into two bad operating systems. An inner dictator and an inner enabler. The dictator screams, the enabler shrugs. Neither is developing excellence. What you need is an inner coach. Clear, honest, demanding when needed, understanding when needed. Not overly soft, not abusive, but useful. Now, let's connect this to anti-fragility from yesterday. Anti-fragile people are not perfect. They recover quickly, they learn from friction, they adapt without drama, and that requires standards. That there is something that you still expect from yourself. But it also requires compassion. You don't waste energy hating yourself for being human. So that combination allows for a fast rebound, a fast return that is often underrated. People think that success comes from never falling off. Often it comes from shortening the time between wobble and recalibrating. Missed a week? Get back on it. You're in a bad mood? Do a reset. You made a poor choice? Learn from it. You have a conflict? Repair it, handle it. That is how strong people are built. Not through spotless records, not through repeated returns. Now, some people use compassion as a camouflage for avoidance. I'm going to be kind to myself. No, you're hiding. Some people use standards as camouflage for insecurity. I demand excellence. No, you're afraid of being worthless. Both require honesty. Now, as we move into June, we're going to talk more about standards and systems and discipline and mediocrity and rebuilding your own operating system. But make sure you keep this in mind. Standards are not punishment. They are structure in service of a life that you want to have. And compassion is not a weakness. It is intelligent energy management. Together, they're impossible to beat. So raise the bar.